are sort of focused on maximization of profit, whereas the takaful is not maximization of profit. There's again no harm in profit making, but at the same time there's the whole notion of mutual caring and sharing, which is part of the broader Sharia example or Sharia concept. We see that the whole industry is growing. There are 180 takaful companies, so the growth is phenomenal, but it's also indicative of a greater consciousness amongst Muslim people in particular, wanting to strive to develop institutions around their faith, which is, I think, very significant, given that we've come out through various phases, for example, of colonialism and disruption of the Islamic way of life and all of that over the years. We see various models of takaful being developed, and I think this may be an ongoing thing. Particularly, I think I'm interested in the Waqf-based wakala, because I think that one is probably the most sustainable one of all in terms of its long-term development and growth. We see a lot of benefits coming out of this model, and we hope, inshallah, that it grows. Particularly, I think he mentioned something about the prospects in Mauritius, which I think people here need to really take seriously and see what are the possibilities and methods, and I think this could become a hub again for this type of institution. And of course, it serves the needs of the community there. As far as the challenges are concerned, I think these are everywhere, and they're common to any innovation as such. It's not a bid'ah, but at the same time, it's something that is not very clearly understood. And I mean, that is why we need to have this kind of seminars and so forth to clarify and for people to understand the basic concepts. So I think with that, I'll just go quickly over to Part Solutions. I think IT is obviously very important in terms of management and control of these institutions, because often without proper systems, we tend to lose the organization. Our administration collapses, and it brings disrepute to the whole industry. If one of these companies have to collapse, it will bring disrepute to the whole industry. And I think that we really need to ensure. I think also not only with Islamic banking institutions per se, but the whole NGO sector as well, because ultimately even those operate as Islamic institutions. They may not be financial institutions, but all of them invariably handle money and all of that. So IT per se is very important in terms of how we manage and control our organizations, our institutions, and also that we need to be careful about how we deal with information, confidentiality, and so forth. And I hope that all those issues are kind of built into the systems. Also, I think communications with donors and customers are very important to maintain that relationship with customers, with donors, in terms of the growth of the organization or growth of the institution, and also to add more credibility to the organization or institution that you do have excellent IT systems. I think Stefani has given a comprehensive overview of why the IT systems are very important for the various organizations. I think particularly the issue about quick information. Customers nowadays, because of general IT culture, I would say, people want information now. They can't wait for information tomorrow. And, you know, I mean, we all go through that whole system, and if our computers are not working, we want, you know, we get impatient about it. So, and I'm sure that many of us go through that all the time. So, so efficiency and competitiveness, which was the starting phrase, I think are absolute non-negotiables in any IT system. And yeah, I think that's all that I have to say. Thank you very much. Jazakallahu khairan.
Thank you very much, Brother Abidin. I would like to give some clarification about the question of Brother Faisal. We have also to remember what is the philosophy of Islamic finance at the same time. Time and again to the Maqasid Sharia, the objectives of Sharia. There should be equitable distribution of wealth. There should be also the strengthening of unity and brotherhood, cooperation and solidarity between the Ummah, and protection of the poor against exploitation. So keeping in mind all these, the businessmen should not think only about just maximizing profit. So I think that's what I have to say. Thank you very much, Brother Zainul Abidin, for concluding remarks. Miss Stephanie Hayek and Brother Zubair Mughal. So we invite you for tea break now, and we'll be back by 11. Thank you. I'll call upon Brother Rafiq Nabi Muhammad, Mr. Zainul Abidin Kaji. So during this second session today, many of you maybe have been hearing about Al-Barakah. And we are not Al-Barakah Bank, but we are Al-Barakah Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited in Mauritius. And most probably, most of you may have get into contact with this cooperative, but maybe also some of you do not know the cooperative. So it is now the golden opportunity for Brother Mahmoud Rafiq Nabi, who is the Secretary of Al-Barakah, to present the case study of this cooperative. Please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I would like to start this session with one question. If anybody wants to invest in any business, okay, in any enterprise, so what he would think about first? What are the questions that he would ask himself? Anybody, please? If somebody wants to do any business or wants to start any business, anything, what he would, yes? First thing is return. You see, that brother, Jalim, he says, first he will think about the return. Next? Risk, right? Anybody else? Pardon? Where we get the fund? Okay, so these questions we have got three answers, nearly three answers, right? But what about is a Muslim investor? He's going to invest. What are the questions that he should ask himself? Halal. You see, the answer is right, straightforward. First thing that he should think about is whether the business is going to invest is halal or not. Okay. But we have also Muslims who don't think like this. He will think about the return. But conceptually, a Muslim should think this first. Because anything that he will get, any source of income, anything, so should be halal. Okay? Well, so the agenda, okay? So I will talk about the Islamic finance and Islamic financial institutions. The concept of cooperatives. You have been hearing a lot about cooperatives, right? Islamic financial cooperatives now. Okay, where does this come from? The financing instruments of the Islamic financial cooperatives, how it works, its operation, reserves, funds, etc. And then I will present the case study of Al-Barakah Multipurpose Cooperative Society in Mauritius. And you have the geographical background of Muslims in Mauritius. Islamic banking and finance and Muslims in Mauritius. So integrating Islamic finance in cooperatives. And the organization of Al-Baraka, the legal framework, its product and services, and other activities. What are the challenges that we have been facing since day one? And of course, we'll have the conclusion. And we have also the opportunities with Al-Baraka for Islamic banking and finance in Mauritius. Islamic finance and Islamic financial institutions. Generally, as we have seen, we have talked a lot about it, is that Islam is a practical way of life with its own system. Okay? We should emphasize on this, that it's a practical way of life. Okay? And it has its own system. It has its political system. It has its economic, social, all these systems. But in the economic field, okay, in the economic sphere, okay, we found that the Muslim countries, particularly the Muslim countries, and we can say nearly most countries of the world, they have inherited what we call, whether it's a capitalist society or a socialist society. But, the economic system, whether it's socialism or capitalism, is not according to the teaching, the tenets of Islam. So we found that scholars have always been at work, okay? Scholars have always been at work to build up, okay, to build up the economic system of Islam and provide something as an alternative. So we find that initiatives, okay, were taken in the 1960s, okay? It was only academic, books were written, etc. And then we find that at that time also there was no working model for Islamic banking or for finance. And it started only in 1963, what we call the Mid-Ghamr in Egypt, where they tried to have something, okay, as what we call the savings banks. Then afterwards we found the emergence of Islamic financial institutions throughout the world and its growth. Now, with the coming of Islamic financial institutions, we find that there was satisfaction and there was also what we call criticism. Okay, we have to see the two faces, okay, of the coin. Okay, not only the positive side, okay, but also the criticism. What are the types of Islamic financial institutions that we have, right? If you have a look at the Islamic institutions that we have around the world, we find that we have banks, we have funds, we have investment companies, we are having financial houses, we are having funds, all these things, right? And if we have a look, we find that all these are for high net worth investors. It's a fact. It's a fact, okay? So we have what we call the cooperative and the microfinance side. These two sectors, which are important sectors, they have been neglected. And I still remember when the Minister of Finance, ex-Minister of Finance, when they were amending the Banking Act, they were expecting that they say that the Islamic finance, it will boost up the microfinance business, right? So we find that these two sectors, they have been neglected. If we look at the history of Islamic finance, Islamic banking and finance, I will go rapidly in that, we find that this concept of Islamic finance or Islamic banking that we're having today, it developed through the cooperative sector. There is Professor Rodney Wilson, okay?